In this video, we'll review the sample workspace for the IBH VWAP indicator for TradeStation. If you're comfortable with Twitter, search for the VWAP hashtag and see how traders use the indicator and various different observations they make during the trading day with regards to trading using the indicator. Before we dive into the sample workspace, I want to send out a heartfelt thank you to all of you. These push pins on the map represent the locations around the globe of all the subscribers as of July 1st, 2018. Brief digression, take a look at the history of the indicator. Version 7 was 4 indicators. Version 8, the functionality of the trend indicator was merged into the VWAP and was packaged as VWAP 2. The original indicators were still in the package, but the focus at that time was to build charts on these dark indicators. Version 9 added native radar screen support to VWAP and VWAP Delta. Those indicators have been named HVWAP 3 and HVWAP 3.Delta. If you're building new charts now, focus on VWAP 3 and VWAP 3 Delta. The older version indicators are still there for backwards compatibility, but as a trader you should be using the newer ones. Sample Workspace contains 6 charts, 2 radar screens, one that has a list of futures products and one that has a list of equities. You'll see that the upper alert settings are unique. There are 2 1-minute charts. One is linked to each radar screen. They both have VWAP 3 and VWAP 3 Delta inserted. And the display range was expanded to include the analysis techniques so that you could see the VWAP. There's one 5-minute chart which shows how to use the indicator in a weekly configuration, and there's one 1-minute chart of ES that has VWAP 3 inserted twice so that you can visually see how to set it up to display both the ETH and the RTH VWAP simultaneously on a chart. Next steps, I'd strongly recommend download the documentation either at the Trading App Store or my website, and then we will open and use the sample workspace. You see before you the sample workspace. These are the 6 charts that I spoke of. Radar screen that has futures products in it, 4 Ds and 2 continuous. That radar screen is linked to a chart window that also has VWAP and VWAP Delta in it, and it's also linked to the 5-minute version that has VWAP 3 as a weekly configuration. What I would suggest when you get the workspace, click on the column, right click, select Format, and walk through the General Inputs and Alerts tab. If you read the documentation, you'll notice that when you put VWAP 3 and VWAP 3 Delta into a radar screen, you need to make sure there's additional data for the indicator to have access to generate the VWAP. There's an explanation of what the number is in the documentation that you ought to use. The inputs, you see VWAP 3. We're having the VWAP reset daily at 8:30. These are index futures in display time zone, and the day starts at 8:30 Central Time Zone. And finally, the alerts. I do not have alerts configured in this case, but if you did, you would set enable alert once per bar interval, which happens to be 1 minute. Have the trigger clear on the bar close, and as you can see, I do have over here the alerts set, and we just got an alert on gold. Likewise for VWAP 3 Delta, take a look, see how it's set up. Again, on the General tab, the Inputs tab, and the Alert tab. What you'll notice here on the Inputs tab for VWAP 3 Delta is there's no value on the upper delta alert size, and that's because I manually changed that for each product based on what I saw in the chart window. You would simply take, let's say we wanted to change the upper alert on ym.d from 29 to some other value. Double click there, go to inputs. Let's say you want it to be 32 instead based on analysis work you've done, and there you have it. Equities is more of the same, except as you get that, you will notice that our gold alert is going off. The VWAP 3 delta has got an upper alert set. One thing to look at, since these are equities, it might be of interest to see what the VWAP is during pre-market, regular trading hours, and aftermarket. So the equity chart, if you right click on the symbol and go to properties, you'll notice that the session is US stock with pre and post market. A single trading day is comprised of a pre-market session, primary market session, and a post-market session. If you then format the VWAP indicator, you see that the session is called S, and what that does is it resets. It ignores the reset time, but it resets your VWAP calculation for each of the, let's call it, subsessions in the day. So you can see the aftermarket for TLT was down here, the pre-market today was up there, and now we're in the market and it's moving on. Take a look at gold. We set the indicator that when gold moves over 0.2 or 20 cents to get an alert, and that's what happened, and you can see that that's a alert that was set. I went through this quickly, but again, the key is focus on the configuration, right click, hit format, and use this as a basis to build the charts that you would be using for your trading. This wraps up the video. I want to thank you for subscribing, and if you have a moment, I'd appreciate it if you could leave a review at the Trading App Store. Thank you.